so you playing with a group or something? I said, the Beach Boys. And he was like, almost crashed the car, like did a double take. He's like, the Beach Boys, whoa. And I was, just as excited as he was.
You were like, whoa.
Yeah. So got to my hotel, couldn't sleep that night, because a bit of nerves and a bit of an excitement. And woke up the next day. We did a run through of a few songs, some sound checking.
Sound checks earlier in the day, right?
Yeah.
And then you have some time to kill.
I had 8 hours of time to kill just by myself because everyone else in the band has been in the band for a lot longer, and they all, they go, they don't want to hang out at that point.
At that
point, they're all great, and they do want to hang out usually. But I think it's everyone was just keeping to themselves. So I just kind of made my way through the hotel, which is also a casino.
Is it surreal walking through a casino knowing you're going to play with the Beach Boys later that night and just having to kill time?
Oh, yeah.
Does the time pass slower?
Very slow. Yeah. I was at the pool for 30 minutes and it felt like 5 minutes. And then I'm like, why am I at the pool by myself? This is weird. If it was at home, that would be different, but I'm swimming with strangers. And so then I went to the gym.
Great memoir title, by the way.
Yeah, there we go. Swimming with strangers. Yeah. Yes. I went through the set 3 times, it's an hour and a half set.
Wow.
I just needed to practice because I was playing guitar, which is not my main instrument, and singing parts that I don't normally sing.
So the Hard Rock, it's part of a casino?
Yeah, they have a venue called Hard Rock Live, which is, got to be 4,000, 5,000 seat arena kind of thing.
Okay.
Built inside. It's a theater, but it's massive. It goes way back and there's 4 levels. I came early to kind of set up my guitar and make sure everything was going well. It starts off with montage video of, planes flying in and girls in bikinis and people surfing in cars and all that kind of stuff. The crowd's going wild. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys. And then the drummer comes on stage first and hits the that kind of thing. And then we all walk on stage, the crowd's, cheering. We grab our guitars. Lead guitar starts playing that riff. And then Mike Love walks on stage. More screaming.
And how are you feeling in this moment?
Why am I here? How am I here? Maybe how am I here? Yeah.
Cut to title.
Yes.
All right. The title of this movie is Wouldn't It Be Nice?
Wouldn't it? Answer, yes.
You can't give away the ending.
Spoiler alert.
All right, so if we were in a movie right now, we'd have all the crazy rewind effect, and the next thing that we talk about would definitely be in a VHS effect.
My earliest memory of being on stage, I was 4 years old, and my parents used to sing in the choir at Melodyland Christian Center, which is a giant church.
Is it also an amusement park? Because it needs to be.
It's not there anymore. It's now the parking lot for Disneyland.
Wow.
Yes. It was right off of Catella. But my earliest memory was my dad singing a solo, and I somehow got out of my handler's arms and ran up on stage, and he picked me up, and I grabbed the microphone out of his hand and started singing.
So you stole the show.
I stole the show, exactly.
Did people like that?
I don't know. It was a church, so I imagine there was a lot of, aw. But it wasn't until my dad brought home an electric guitar from a guy at work who was just clearing out his closet. And I had just been introduced to the Specials and the English beat and two-tone era 70s English ska music by my youth pastor, who was way into that.
Because ska was popular in the church back then.
It was. There was the Supertones and
Five Iron
Frenzy.
Orange County Supertones.
The OC Supertones. Yes.
Yeah. The local boys.
Yeah. And No Doubt. And actually the house I grew up in, a block down the street was, if you have the album Tragic Kingdom by No Doubt, turn to the back cover, and they're standing in the street a block away from the house I grew up in.
Wow.
Yeah. So ska, punk, all that stuff was huge, and I all summer long just learned how to play the kind of ska thing, and had a little Technics keyboard that I could program drum beats into. I would just sit there and write songs and then record them onto a cassette recorder that was just picking up what was in the room. So there was no like overdubbing or anything. It was just me with this keyboard and my guitar. And that was the first moment that I thought, oh, I like music. I always liked music, but like I love music.
It's like recording your own.
Yeah, recording my own music. And then of course, you know, the Beach Boys were always in the background in Orange County and in Southern California.
Yeah, were your parents fans?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, my dad's favorite band was the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
For me, the Beach Boys, I first came across them like as a little kid. My dad had a record player and some like, I forget if it was in my memory, it's a 45, but I don't know if that really lines up with what our record player was. So never mind. It was a 12 of like Surf and Safari and stuff like that. Cause my dad also was a surfer.
Yeah.
The Beach Boys was like my dad's music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was like, it was fun, especially when you're a kid.
Yeah.
And then it just sort of disappeared.
Yeah. My parents didn't have a record player in the house, but they had a crate full of like Elton John and, Crosby, Stills, and Nash records and stuff like that in the garage.
Like a bunch of stuff you didn't care about when you were a kid, and then now you're like, oh, that's so cool. I wish they still had all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
My folks would listen to, you know, my mom was a big Steely Dan. Both my parents liked Steely Dan and Sting and Crosby, Stills, and Nash and the Beatles, of course. So there was always music on in the house.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends that I've met here in Nashville, you know, who are musicians and also grew up in church, and they're all, most of them are like, we were never allowed to listen to anything.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. I'm like, it's such a different experience than like Southern church people. Because the people from Southern church, they were like, we were only allowed to listen to gospel.
Yep. I know. So,
but not even gospel.
Yeah.
Southern gospel.
Southern gospel. Oh man, I have a story about Southern gospel too. But at the time, I didn't know, but I feel like a little bit privileged to have like had
good music
in the house. Not not that Southern gospel is bad music.
There's good.
There's good.
Great harmonies.
Yeah, for sure. I should go back a little bit because the first time I heard something that wasn't my parents' music was 1995. Going back to my dad coming home from an IT convention, he brought home Windows 95, the disc.
Yep.
And installed it in the computer, and I'm sitting there watching, like, just mesmerized by what this operating system could do. And in one of the folders, the, like, welcome folder or whatever, was a music video. It's like, whoa, what's that, Dad? And so he clicked on it, and it was Buddy Holly by Weezer. The grainiest, worst quality
it's ever been.
Yeah. But it was a version of the Buddy Holly music video, which, if you've never seen it, it looks like it's an episode of Happy Days.
Right, yeah. Which, if you've never seen it, is a show about the 50s made in the 70s.
Yes, exactly. It
got popular again in the 90s.
Yes. And so that was the first time that I was like, oh, this is mine. This music is mine. And I wore out the Blue Album. And then, of course, back to my youth pastor introducing me to all these like punk ska records from the 70s and 80s, getting into the Clash and everything. So I started a little Christian ska band at my church called One Way Out, which I just found the cassette tape, the only cassette tape we recorded with like 2 microphones off of the board in the house at the church.
That's
amazing. Terrible. But from there on out, I like knew all I wanted to do was make music.
So we were talking kind of like before the show started about some of your bands later, and it is quite possible that we were at the same show, but you played it and I was in the audience.
It is quite possible. Yes.
Which was Switchfoot, Revolver, and then your band, did you say Mayday?
Melee. Yeah.
But how do you spell it?
Melee, with lots of accent marks.
I see. Did that make it to Spotify? Like, can people find that now?
We put out a record on Hopeless Records called Everyday Behavior, and then a record on Warner Brothers called Devils and Angels.
Nice.
And then another record that only came out in Japan, which we can get to.
Yeah.
Called The Masquerade.
The Masquerade.
Yeah.
So how did you wind up opening for Switchfoot with Melee? Like, I guess, take me from ska band 2-track recording to a signed band.
Guitar player Rick and bass player Ryan and me on keys. And we started a swing band.
Oh, wow.
In the garage of our friend Mike, our first drummer's house. Because the summer of like 99 or 98, 99,
Yeah.
bands like Big Bad Voodoo Daddy
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
Royal Crown Review were out,
Uh-huh.
and the movie Swing Kids had come out, and there was this huge swing resurgence. We were called Super Murgatroyd,
wow.
which was some line from Swing Kids. Anyways, that lasted a summer, and then we fell back in love with our like Smashing Pumpkins, Weezer, Roots, and I had a friend who introduced me to Blur, which is probably my favorite band of all time, and just a bunch of Britpop. So our senior year of high school, we dropped the horns and started a like 4-piece rock band, originally called Squirt Gun Melee. And our friend Mike was like, that is the dumbest name I've ever heard. So Squirt Gun went away and we kept Melee. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, Melee sounds like a hardcore band.
It does. And we got confused for that
Squirt
a lot.
Gun sounds like the ska part.
The ska band. Yeah.
So he kind of messed it up, but it sounds like it worked out.
It worked out. We were like a piano pop rock band, sort of pop punky.
Yeah.
Not really like, Blink 182 pop punky, but more like something corporate.
Yeah.
And so we played Orange County all the time. Chain Reaction was our like stomping grounds. It was this like club in Anaheim, all ages club that used to be like a public storage or a Mexican restaurant or both at one point.
Are you an Andrew McMahon fan at all?
Yeah.
The corporate guy?
Yeah, of course.
There's like, just even your look is sort of in the vein. Like you're also from Orange, he's an Orange County guy.
It's the Orange County thing. We played one show with them. No, we played 2 shows with them. And I'll tell you a funny story. One show was at Pepperdine University, and the other one was at the House of Blues Anaheim. We were opening. And I was so pumped for this show and getting myself hyped up. I'm like, we got to like put on the best show, and we got to like, impress the crowd. I'm like, I'm going to stage dive. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And the whole show didn't stage dive until the very last minute, band's trash canning out. And I put my guitar down or whatever and convinced myself at the very last second, do it. And I turned around and sprinted and jumped into the crowd. And the House of Blues Anaheim is no longer at the location it was, but the stage was like 5 feet tall.
Pretty good drop.
And the front row was just a sea of 15-year-old girls who parted.
No!
And I like, boom, hit the
ultimate
ground.
rejection?
The ultimate rejection, yeah.
And they were girls.
They were girls, man. And I kicked a girl in the head on the way down. And it was Disney-owned at that time. And they were like, you'll never play it again.
No! She woke up in a coma.
She actually like came up to our merch booth with a little ice pack on her head, and she's like, "That was awesome! I loved it." She bought it. No, we gave her a T-shirt. We're like, "We're sorry."
Yeah, she had brain damage.
Yes, exactly. Yep. That's how That's how you make fans, folks. You kick them in the head. Yeah.
I would have loved to have done the same thing. I would have tried. I would have wanted to.
Yeah.
So like, props to you for having the balls. I do feel like
the
stupidity
to
but
do it.
But like you did it.
I did it.
You freaking did it. I might have staged. I was the drummer, but I might have staged dive like once or something. But I don't know. I at least wanted to.
We were just trying to like, be memorable.
Yeah, it was memorable.
It was memorable, at least for me and that one girl. So yeah, we played around Orange County a whole bunch, and then we met the manager of Real Big Fish, had a practice studio and a T-shirt pressing place, and we used to go practice there. And he kind of just like watched us over time. And one day he came into our practice room and was like, "I think you guys are ready for this." And he gave us a card of this entertainment lawyer. And so we called her, and we had made a little EP on our own dime. And we sent it to her, and so she started sending it around to the different labels. And the only one that like bit was Hopeless Records out of Van Nuys, just like on the north side of LA. And Hopeless had at that time Thrice.
Oh yeah,
and Avenged Sevenfold and like 88 Fingers Louie and all these like
they heard the Melee name.
yeah. They saw the name and they were like, no. It turns out the Lewis, the president of the label, is a big like Beatles and pop fan.
Heck yeah!
But their label signs mostly like punk and like hardcore bands. So we were the like odd man out on the label, but it was great. They were super awesome to us, and they like put a lot of effort and energy and time, and I'm sure money into like helping us make a record, which we made up in San Francisco with this guy Jay Robbins of Burning Airlines. Do you know that band?
No.
They were this like more like East Coast DC kind of like indie rock band. We were at the studio called Tiny Telephone.
Heard of it.
Yeah. The Death Cab for Cutie did Transatlanticism there. And it was...
Interview over.
Yes.
Great ending. We've landed the plane.
We've landed it.
No, I'm a huge fan.
So we made a record there. Hit the road, did the Warped Tour in 2003. We did 2 weeks in 2003 and the entire thing in 2004, which if you've never done Warped Tour or never been to Warped Tour, it's like boot camp for bands. Unless you're, one of the headliners in a bus, but it's routed for buses. So the drives are like Salt Lake City to San Francisco, which is 13 hours.
Yeah.
And that's overnight. And we were in a van and trailer.
Which routed for buses would just be buses go overnight.
Yep.
So you have a separate driver. But if you're a smaller band in a van, the separate driver is the singer or the drummer. Yeah,
I drove the Salt Lake City to San Francisco drive that night on like 2 Red Bulls and passed out the next day. But
it's a cool drive, by the way.
Yeah, it is a cool drive, but it's not super cool overnight when it's dark.
Right. That's what.
Yeah.
I've only gone out on a bus once. I wasn't the artist. I was like doing video actually, but this bummer was like, you're like, cool, we're going to go see the country. Nope.
Yeah.
It's all dark. You're sleeping. And then it's like disorienting because you like wake up in another city the next morning, but you're also at a venue of a similar size as the one you were at yesterday.
Yeah, this is the same place.
And then you go and you're like lost in a labyrinth of hallways till you find where the food is and where the stage is. And you're like, cool, I'm acclimated. Was it a dream when you were playing it, or was it brutal, or was it both, or what? How'd you find it?
It went from brutal to dream.
Oh, good.
So it started off
better.
Brutal. They, you're called a baby band. You're just like immediately demoralized at the beginning. Like, oh yeah, the baby band's over there. And at least we got food. We were served food.
Are some bands not?
Yeah, we were on the tour the whole time, so we got like a meal pass. But some bands, if they're on for a week, it's like, sorry, fend for yourself.
You're a baby band.
You're a baby band.
And we're not going to feed you.
Yeah.
Cry in the corner, kid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And water was a scarce commodity. But the tour was sponsored by Monster Energy Drink and Yoo-Hoo.
Oh, this is bad.
So all summer long, we drank Monster vodkas backstage and warm Yoo-Hoo. And then water when we could get it.
Yeah. This is like Firefest.
Oh.
But people came.
People came to Warped Tour, not Firefest.
Well, I guess they did. Just the bands didn't come.
Bands didn't come. The bands didn't come. That's true. So we did that. And yeah, again, it's like boot camp. You're just tired and sweaty and on a high and on a low all day long. So your adrenaline and your dopamine levels are just doing this. And then by the end, you kind of like, you feel camaraderie with everyone who's been on the tour. And it's a sad moment when you leave and everyone's kind of tearing up and saying goodbye. And, but from that, we caught attention from some major record labels, which was pretty amazing.
That's what you want?
For any band, yeah. And we ended up signing with Warner Brothers. It took 10 months for that whole contract cycle to like be finalized.
They didn't come to the show with the contract.
No. Yeah. 6-album deal, Frank Sharp Records.
Did the frog come to the show?
Yeah, exactly. With his top hat. Yeah.
You always got something here.
You boys, you're going to go straight to the top. So we signed with Warner Brothers, made a record with them, with this guy, Howard, oh my gosh, I will remember. Sorry, I forgot your last name.
I'll look him up.
But we made this record with him, and I was kind of like not super enthused at the time because I was into Radiohead and Blur and Doves and all these like UK bands, and I didn't want to make a like
Benson.
Howard Benson. My gosh. So I was kind of like, they're slightly dragging me into the studio because I was just an obnoxiously like egotistic 20-something-year-old kid who thought that he knew better, which I have found out that I don't. But it turns out he's a big fan of keyboards and a lot of the same like 70s influences that I have, 60s, 70s influences that I have. And he brought his entire keyboard collection. So he had like a Farfisa and a Vox Continental and a B3 and an Elka string synthesizer and all these cool, like a Selena string machine. So we went to town on keyboards for the record because it was a very piano-centric album. We recorded the pianos at Sound Factory and Sunset Sound. So
Sunset Sound.
one of them was the Jackson Browne Dr. My Eyes piano.
Wow.
And the other one was the Jerry Lee Lewis like Great Balls of Fire piano.
Wow.
So I'm like, yeah, it was a dream to play on those. Both Steinways, both amazing pianos. So we made this record, and the day it came out, it was April 2007. I went to my local Best Buy to find it. It wasn't there. So I went to the next Best Buy, the next town over, and couldn't find it. And another Best Buy, still couldn't find the record. And so calling the manager in a panic, like, my mom wants a copy of the record. I can't find it anywhere. And so he calls the label in a panic. Where's the record? My band can't find it. Come to find out, at that time, the Warner Brothers offices, they called it the Chalet in Hollywood, or Toluca Lake. And the upstairs was the domestic department, so all United States. And downstairs in the basement was international. And they didn't really like talk back and forth too much. So the initial record was, they pressed 10,000 copies. And the buyer for Tsutaya Records in Japan heard it and was like, I like this, and took 6,000 copies to Japan. So there's only 4,000 left for the rest of the United States. So that's why we couldn't find it in any stores, because there was a limited amount of copies.
Yeah.
So we're like, oh shoot, should we like pivot to Japan? And by the time we pivoted to Japan, he had sold like 30,000 copies in stores.
Oh my gosh.
So just on imports.
The classic big in Japan.
Right? So we like figured we got to go over to Japan. So we talked to the Warner Japan, and they brought us over, and somehow, some way, our single went to #1 on Japanese pop radio.
Dude, that's awesome.
It was wild. So we did a bunch of radio interviews, and they would translate our answers into Japanese. And I think the song was a very like sugary pop song about my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife. It's called Built to Last. And
it worked.
It worked, and it just like it for some reason it just had the right amount of like sweetness and like hope and joy and romance that it just fit in what was happening there at the time. I think Daniel Powder's like Had a Bad Day was doing well in Japan too at the same time. So just kind of.
Were you on top of Had a Bad Day in Japan?
We were.
That's amazing.
For a minute, yeah.
You had a good day.
We had a great day. Yeah, we did Japan for a while, and that kind of like bled into more Southeast Asian countries, and it did really well in the Netherlands too, so we did that. And then 2008, the market crashed, and no one was buying records. Everything in the music business was shaking up. The president at Warner Brothers got fired, and a bunch of people with him. So we came home having sold 150,000 records in Japan and having a #1 single, but to a label who didn't know and didn't really care who we were. And so we started to see like the writing on the wall, like lots of bands are getting let go. Our A&R guy was still there, and we like worked on another record for a year. The one that I mentioned earlier called The Masquerade. And we started to co-write, because before we'd only written songs by ourselves. And me and our guitar player who wrote all the songs together, we were like, well, let's try like getting together with some LA writers. And so we did a ton of co-writing and kind of like hodgepodge this record together between some of the writers who were producers as well. And then I produced half the record in my bedroom, just learning how to use Logic. We ended up having someone mix that part, but then 3 of the songs were produced by Jackknife Lee, who he did a bunch of the Snow Patrol stuff.
Oh, nice.
Fantastic. I learned so much on those sessions. But yeah, just this hodgepodge of an album came together. And then the new president at Warner, we couldn't get a meeting with him. Even though we were on the label, And we were just trying to show them the record that we finished. And we were like, we want to put this out in Japan because we have a following there. We want to put it out in the Netherlands. We have a following there. Couldn't get a meeting. So we decided we're going to wait in the lobby at Warner Brothers. And so we brought our guitars and we just sat there in the lobby for 4 hours. We walked up to the counter. We're like, we're here to meet with Rob Cavallo. Oh, okay. Do you have a meeting? What time's your appointment? And we're like, we don't have one. He's like, oh, okay. So you guys can wait there. So we waited in the lobby, and then eventually his assistant came down and was like, if you come back tomorrow, Rob can meet with you. So we came back the next day, and we went in his office and we played him a few songs, and he was like, great. We'll come back after the holidays. Nothing happened after the holidays. So the record did come out in Japan. We went back there a couple more times, but it was shelved in the States. We ended up parting ways with Warner Brothers. They gave us the record back, which we still have not put out. But at that point, I was tired. We were 11 years into this band, and I had just gotten married. I didn't know what I was doing, but I couldn't write another record on top of one that wasn't coming out. I just had felt exhausted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hindsight, I wish I would have stuck it out because, along comes more social media, like Instagram and TikTok and all that stuff a few years later. And I wish I would have had the foresight to see that could be a possibility. But I didn't. And so the band ended, kind of just did a few random projects here and there over the time. Enjoyed just being a married person for the first year of our marriage. Royalty checks were still coming in for some of that stuff. So I was living off of that. I had a little studio set up in Fullerton where we were living and just made stuff, but didn't have a direction really. I made a like rock gospel album under a different name, which was kind of fun. But then my wife and I had some friends that moved out to Nashville, and we went to visit them a few times, and we're like, wow, this is nice. It's affordable. It's a slower pace of life. We were just kind of looking forward to living in California, and we were renting a little house, little 1,000 square foot house for $2,100 a month, and that was back in 2012.
Yeah.
And now I'm sure that house is $4,000 a month, easily $5,000 a month. Got out to Nashville, not knowing what I was doing. Quit music 3 months in, which is the opposite of what most people moving to Nashville do.
Right. When you quit music, how quick did you go? So I also kind of wanted to pause for 1 second after that whole era. I feel like I've lived a parallel life.
Yeah.
I remember my pop punk band when I was 18 or whatever.
Yeah.
So we got offered a 50-city tour. It was a Christian tour.
Yeah.
It's called the End of Days Tour.
Okay.
Ever heard of it?
End of Days.
Yeah, haven't heard of it. Spoiler, it never happened. But we were told we were on the tour. It was going to be a big deal. We were going to tour the entire country, and it was going to be the X Games meets Warped Tour.
Oh.
So people in my band quit their jobs and moved out of different houses, changed living arrangements. Oh, we're not going to need this apartment anymore.
Yeah.
Sold things. I'm not going to need that, whatever. And as this tour's about to happen, we were having discussions with me and two of the guys in the band had one of their older brother was our mentor. And so we'd meet with him and he would challenge us on our lives and but he was challenging us, me specifically, your whole life is wrapped up in this band. This is all you care about. What are you going to do if it doesn't work out? And I'm and actually, funny enough, what I said was, there's only two things I could possibly see myself doing if it wasn't the band. One is being a recording engineer, and one is being a church intern.
Yeah. Yep.
Which to a 17-year-old made sense as a path.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Many
a 17-year-old gets lost as it doesn't usually go somewhere. But
my church was too small for a 17-year-old intern. There was a pastor and his secretary on staff, and that was it.
Dude, interns were the coolest kids.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But anyway, what he did, and I'm really glad he did it, he was what you should do is you should start serving at the teen center. Help these younger kids. They're all middle school to high school, whatever. And I was senior year of high school. So I'm working with kids. I'm still a kid.
Yeah.
It was you should do something for somebody else for a little while and get outside of just being obsessed with your own stuff.
Totally.
And so I did that, and it was good for me as a 17-year-old.
Yeah.
I had I didn't have a perfect childhood. My parents were divorced and there's all sorts of drama. But both of my parents weren't in jail.
Yes.
And it was good for me to see somebody else live, and they were living in poverty and everything else.
Gives you perspective.
Yeah, so it gave me a lot of perspective working with these kids. And so as we're getting ready to like go off on the Last Days tour and sell our lives and to finally be Warped Tour X Game heroes.
Yes.
I started feeling split about that decision.
Yeah.
And started being like, well, how are Dustin and Tyler going to get to church? How are they going to... The tour fell apart. First show, we drove to Vegas. We were told we're going to be playing New Year's Eve on the Vegas Strip. We have gotten a part of the Strip, and we're building a festival. Going to be 100,000 people. So we get to Vegas, and they're like, okay, so the Strip thing didn't work out, but we found a church, and they're going to let us use their parking lot. Turns out, guys, weather's bad today, and the church won't let us play it inside, so we're not going to be able to play at the church. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to pivot to a coffee shop. Everybody, here's flyers. Everyone go to the mall and invite people to the coffee shop. So what the X Games Warped Tour all-in-one tour turned into was one show at a coffee shop in Vegas that was already doing an open mic night, and we just took it over.
Oh, no. Oh, no. It sounds like Christian Firefest. Oh, man.
It was Christian Firefest. But the weirdest part was I was not devastated.
Yeah.
Because I had this internal conflict of like, what's going to happen to these kids if I go on the road?
Yep.
But going on the road is my dream. And so when it all fell apart, I was like, there's my answer.
Yeah.
And so I went into youth ministry for like 3 years.
Oh, that's great.
And that night I got up in front of everybody and was like, I'm quitting music.
Oh, yeah.
I'm done with this.
Giving it up for the Lord.
I'm giving it up for the Lord. I'm just working music. And you know what? Like, and I felt all this conviction about that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done with music's an idol in my life. I'm done with this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to serve God.
Yeah.
And some of the other people who were in another Christian band that night, they came up to me and they were like talking. They're like, hey, that was really cool. You were sharing everything else.
Yeah.
They're like, I wouldn't be surprised if God brings that back around in your life. You might not be done. I know you're feeling done. You got to be done for a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if that came back, you know? And at that time, I just quit. I didn't want to hear that.
You're like, no.
I'm like, no, it will not come back. And anyway, so I became a recording engineer, and here we are. And I've been doing that way longer.
Yeah, my story is very similar to that. Yeah, first off, that's great that like you recognized that at an early age, because a lot of people don't recognize, like that could have been any of us, like living in a, we were born into the circumstances we were born in, whether by luck or by chance or by God or whatever, like we didn't get to pick that. So
no,
that's cool that you recognize that. But yeah, when I quit, I bought a 1977 Ford F-100, and it was all rusted out, and I got a job working at the YMCA for their before and after school program at a local school down in Spring Hill.
You went for full, like, I'm out of the game, boys.
Oh, dude, I went...
Someone needed to come to you and be like, we need you for one last job, Chris. Like, you're like, no, I drive an F-100 now.
Yeah, like, as like, in the woods as I could be, while still living in the suburbs. Yeah, I like, tap, ask my wife, she'll be like, stop tapping. I play drums on my knee, or I whistle or hum all the time. And I even stopped that. I like cold turkey.
Wow.
I was like going through withdrawals. Like, so yeah, it was before and after school. So I would drive there in the morning in my beat up truck, watch kids and at that point, I didn't think that I wanted kids. I was like, nah, I think we'll just be just the two of us, and we'll be that couple that doesn't have kids. And because I was still selfish and self-centered at that point.
No kids, no music.
Yeah, exactly. So now I'm working with little kids from like 5-year-olds to like 10-year-olds, making sure that they don't hurt themselves before school, and making sure they don't hurt themselves after school before their parents pick them up, making $8 an hour. I went from doing, Fuji Rock Festival and playing in front of, thousands of people to like watching kids.
Yeah.
And it was the most humbling experience, but I needed it. It was so badly. And I just didn't know who I was without music. And I have a small anecdotal story related to that. And my wife at one point was like, you need to sit down and just sit in your chair and be quiet. Because I would just mope around the house. Not, I just didn't know who I was without music, without my band, that was my whole identity. And so, so one day I begrudgingly listened to her and I sat in the chair. And I'm not like the guy that says I hear the voice of God ever in my life, ever. But I just sat there and I sat for 2 hours and I heard the dog occasionally bark and I heard the refrigerator kick on a couple times. I'm like, this is stupid. And I'm about to get up out of the chair and I felt, and this is not like, again, it could have just been me, but I feel like this was not my normal internal voice. And it wasn't audible, but I felt like this voice was saying, sing me something. It's like, no, I'm not singing anything. And I felt it again. No, sing me something. And I was like, who are you? What is this? And so we had a little piano there.
It's like Evan Almighty.
Yeah, something, exactly. And so I the first song that popped into my head was this one we used to sing at my old church. My dad was the worship pastor and my mom sang in the choir. And it was, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. New every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. And I sang it as quickly as I could like that. Great is thy faithfulness. And then I looked around like, okay, your turn. And I didn't hear anything. So I was like, no, that was dumb. That was just my voice. That was all me.
Yeah.
So I went about my day and it was bothering me. Like, why did that happen? Why that song? And it dawned on me that I'd never known where that song came from. It's this little chorus. So I'm like, it's probably in scripture somewhere. So I looked it up and it's in Lamentations chapter 3. And if you don't know the Bible, Lamentations is one of the saddest. It's the most emo book of the Bible.
Lament.
Yes, lament. Half of Israel has been taken away into captivity in Babylon or Assyria, and the temple's been burned down, and it's just this totally sad book. But in the middle, there's this little couple verses of hope of, his steadfast love never ceases. Great is his faithfulness. And as you read down further, it says, it's good for a man to sit silently before the Lord. I was like, okay, wow. That's wow. What I just did. And it wasn't like, I'm not trying to preach or proselytize or anything like that, because Lord knows I have so many problems and issues with church today.
If you're watching this at home,
dial the number 555. Donate to Chris Cron Ministries. No, hell no.
But no, I've had moments like what you're talking about. Yeah. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know exactly what you're talking about, where something comes to you, you're like, I don't know what this is. And then when you went and looked it up, you're like, that's the linchpin there. The clincher is like, sit quietly before the Lord. You're like, that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, I was meaning to sit quietly to listen to my wife and also protest that this meant nothing.
Yeah.
And listen to the dog bark.
Yeah.
But it's what you did, and it came, and it's I mean, those moments are priceless, confirmation. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Because you need, in that moment where everything's sort of fallen apart and you've left your identity behind, you need for something to come along and be like, wait, maybe I'm not done yet.
Yeah.
Even if it's not music.
Yeah.
Just to be like, is God still out there? Is my life still, am I still on the path? Because I know myself, I had a bunch of years where I was like, I kind of wonder if I left my story behind. I was on this story.
Totally.
Did I
make the wrong decision?
Yeah, and then that story's over.
Uh-huh.
And so it's nice to have those moments where you're like, maybe the story continues.
Yes, which it does. At that moment, I felt like this isn't a confirmation of anything that I'm doing. This is just a confirmation of God sees me. I had this identity wrapped up in music, and I still have an identity. I'm just now about to figure out what it is.
Yeah.
At 30 years old at that point. that just kind of like led to a whole time of I did for another year just like didn't really do music. Did the YMCA job for a year, and then I ended up getting a job at a place called Wholesale Hardwood Interiors, and I drove a beat up Nissan Frontier. There's a theme of beat up old trucks. Nissan Frontier around Nashville delivering hardwood, like 1-by material and doors and stair parts and like plywood and stuff to job sites. So I got you know, I got jacked for a minute, which I've lost all of it completely. But so I did that for a year. We had just had our son, so I was a brand new dad, now making $13 an hour. And then I met a guy in Spring Hill who worked for a Southern Gospel publishing company. And he was like, he has the most sing-songy kind of voice, the nicest guy I've ever met. It's like, hey man, why don't you come on down and have coffee with me sometime? So I went and had coffee, and he like heard my story and was like, I think I'd like to sign you to a publishing deal here. It's like, oh, well, what are we gonna do? And he's like, well, we've got the Southern Gospel Publishing Company, but we want to start a like contemporary arm where we're like, doing more like pop and CCM and worship and stuff. And so I signed this little 3-year deal that helped, added a little bit of income, and wrote Southern Gospel and like Christian pop contemporary stuff for a bit.
Was there anything in you that like starting to do music things again, did you have any kind of a pause about it? Any sort of like a like I don't know, like I've kind of been in this mopey phase, like I've kind of been, I left this behind, you know what I mean?
I definitely did. And then I had a phone call, a 2-hour phone call with this guy Dennis Jernigan, who is he wrote a bunch of like, I think he wrote You Are My All in All. This like
old-timey
80s, 90s like worship song.
Yeah.
And I had done a cover song of one of his songs for a compilation for a documentary about his life. I got his number from the director because I resonated with some of his story because he quit music at one point too. So I called him and told him my whole story, and he sat on the phone with me for 2 hours and like just like hashed it out with me. And at the end, he was like, don't quit writing. Quit music as a career for now. Like lay that down. That's fine. But don't quit writing because that's how you express yourself. That's just your way of communicating. So throughout that time, I just kind of kept like, it was my way of journaling. It was like writing little songs, but I just kind of kept them in the back pocket. But so coming back to it, it was like, I felt like I had a healthier relationship with it. Like, I've quit this once, I can quit it again. I was, learning things at church and learning things just with my wife, and we were growing in our relationship. And so I had this healthier way of looking at it, which I still have to like always battle because I feel like music is a temptress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She's a saucy, saucy gal. So I kind of came back to it through that and met some people. I almost signed a like Christian like artist deal at one point, and I didn't, and I'm kind of glad, and I've laid that whole thing down too, because that's never a world that I ever really wanted to be in. I was always on the outskirts of it.
Right.
I feel like in a lot of Christian music, you can't fully be yourself.
Yep.
No shade. There's a lot of people in Christian music that I love, but
real quick, my camera, little bit of shade.
Little bit of shade. Little bit of shade. Yeah. A little bit of shade.
I've done some amount of work in that area, and I have mixed feelings, and I think most people who work there have mixed feelings. There's good and there's bad.
There is.
And you could make a case for either one, and I believe them both.
Yes. 100%. All the art that I like is just happens to not be in the Christian space. After that publishing deal ended, I was kind of, again, back into like, I don't know what I'm doing. My buddy Ryan is a general contractor, so I ended up getting a job with him remodeling houses. And one of his big clients is Haley Williams. Hi, Haley, of Paramore. And it's funny because we did a tour where we were direct support for this pop punk band, and Paramore opened that tour for like 6 of the dates with one of the dads driving them in a Suburban because they were too young. So at one point, we're remodeling her house, and I'm standing in the kitchen talking to her, just like, I don't know if you'll remember this, but I was in a band called Melee, and I don't know if she remembered at all, but she was sweet and said that she remembered. And so she was great, and we worked on that house for a year, and I did construction with him for about 2 years. Learned a lot, so I've been able to like do some work on my house, which has been great.
Oh, nice.
But through that, there was another friend that I met in my time doing publishing who's a songwriter, and he introduced me to these 2 web platforms called SoundBetter and Air Gigs. I don't know if you've heard of...
I've heard of SoundBetter. Yeah.
They're both like Fiverr for musicians, so remote recording. And so I made myself a little profile on there as like, I'll sing your demos or I'll play piano on your tracks. And it got to a point in 2018 where I felt like I could do this. Was making enough to where I could let go of being in construction full time. And it was a little bit of a scary jump, but we did it. And since then, I haven't looked back. I've been back into full-time music since 2018.
Wow.
Doing vocal sessions and film and TV writing and recording and all that kind of stuff.
And does like a lot of your work still come through SoundBetter, or did that just get you launched?
Those got me launched in the beginning, and I'd say like maybe a quarter of my work come from those platforms now. At that time, I had no social media following at all, and I wasn't even trying to do anything. There was a company that found me on SoundBetter out of Israel. They have an app called Simply. They have Simply Piano.
I have this, maybe.
Maybe? Simply Piano, Simply Guitar, Simply Sing. So what they do is instead of getting the licenses, because you can imagine the licenses of these famous songs that everyone wants to sing are thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
It's cost prohibitive. So they just re-record all these songs as close to the original as possible. So it was like, like Don't Stop Believing or
do they have like rules for you when you're making, because I'm assuming you were making.
So they did all the tracks and I was hired to do all the vocals.
Got it.
So I sang like 60 some songs for them.
And they would have you sing it the same way as the original singer. That was legal.
Yeah. As like close as that. So I would do impersonations. I've always loved doing impersonations, but so it was a fun job to try and like, how can I like really recreate Freddie Mercury, or how can I really recreate the guy from Foreigner or something like that. And
I see how this very much dovetails into where we are today.
So one of the songs was Wouldn't It Be Nice by the Beach Boys.
The title of this movie.
I did it and I was really happy with it, and I just kept it on my hard drive for a little while. And then about 6 months later, I was like, I'm going to try a little bit more on social media. And so I started making stuff, and I'm like, I'm going to make a video about that. So I made this dumb video where it's like, how to sound like the Beach Boys. And, step 1, change your shirt, and then my shirt changed into a Beach Boys shirt. And
was it this shirt?
It wasn't this one. I got this one later on, but made this quick little minute-long video where at the end I reveal here's the process and then here's the end result.
Yeah.
And for some reason that video took off. I like put my phone down and went back to work singing on someone's session, and picked up my phone like an hour later. I was like, whoa, this has 10,000 views. That's my most viewed video.
Yeah.
At the time, it was like I'd have 243 views, and half of them were my mom.
Yeah.
So I put it back down, and it's like, I'll tell my wife later. And then another hour later, I picked it up and was like, 50,000 views. Whoa, this is crazy. So I called my wife. I think I have a little bit of a viral video. Kind of joking.
Yeah.
And over the course of a week or so, it went to like 1.5 million views.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Again, wasn't planning this, wasn't trying. It's just one of those things that just happened to happen.
And this is a great point for me to interject because that's how I encountered you.
Okay.
Before you played with the Beach Boys, spoiler, that's where this is going.
I'm still like, it doesn't feel like it was real.
Before that happened, we were already scheduled to do this interview.
Yeah.
And so this was going to be my start. My start was going to be, so I saw your video and how to do a Beach Boys song or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you a little no context, then I'll give you the context.
Okay.
I didn't like you at first.
Yes. Thank you for your honesty. I love it.
I don't know if I followed you right away or if I saw enough of your videos.
Yeah.
Because I think the algorithm was like, no, you're going to want this. And so maybe down the line I followed you.
Okay.
And then I had a process of being like, this guy. I think it was probably by the time I saw some of your harmony videos where I was like, okay, he's actually pretty good. He actually does know what he's talking about. And then eventually I was like, I moved. I accepted. At some point I followed, and then I was like, I liked it. I like him.
Oh, thank you.
And so I realized over time, I'm like, oh, I was just jealous.
Oh.
I was jealous of you.
No.
And here's why. So rewind. I told you kind of before we started filming the podcast, back in 2020, we all had a little extra time on our hands.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did the same thing myself where I was like, I'm going to make a Beach Boys style song.
Yeah.
And did that and then put it out and shout out Night Tides, look it up.
Yeah.
And so put that out and then one thing led to another and we ended up doing a bunch of songs and playing live and we did the Music City Mayhem competition.
Oh, yeah.
And so I had this whole like Beach Boys phase and then I got to finally express that.
Yeah.
Even before this, like even 10 years ago, I was putting Beach Boys style things into bands I was working with.
Yeah.
So it's
always been there.
Yeah, it's been there.
Yeah.
And my identity wasn't like fully Beach Boys. Because also, like, I love the Beatles.
Totally.
I love a lot of bands.
Yeah.
But Beach Boys is like a big part of it. And I did this in our band. We wore this shirt I'm wearing. And and the pants. And we did a full-on Beach Boys look. And just like went full on with it.
Yeah.
There's not that many millennials rolling around trying to tell people like, we're going to do a Beach Boys style thing, right? Like we're few and far in between.
Yeah.
And so I kind of felt put me in a room, I'm probably going to be the guy who knows some stuff about the Beach Boys.
You know Pet Sounds.
And I know Pet Sounds. That's right. Do you see the edge of it right there?
Yep. Right there.
And I will introduce some of that kind of stuff into the artists that I'm working with.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like the only guy I know that references the Beach Boys like that. So when I saw your video, I'm like, there was a part of me that was like, oh no. He's doing the Beach Boys thing too. Like that FOMO.
Sorry.
Like, 1 million views. Oh my God, somebody else is getting famous on the Beach Boys thing. It's too late.
No, it's not too late.
and so I had this like FOMO moment. And anyway, over the course of time, I realized like it just made me jealous that there was like another person doing a Beach Boys thing. I think when I decided to start this podcast, you were one of the very first people I invited to be on.
Yeah.
And like, I think just the day I'm like, okay, I got to start getting guests. Like one of your videos popped up and I'm like, that guy.
Yeah.
And so I reached out and once we sealed the deal that you were going to be on the show, my whole perspective changed. I stopped feeling like you were a competitor and I started feeling like you were a new friend.
Yay. Well, I like that. I like that a lot better.
And, yeah. And
because like we're all doing the same, we're all trying to do the same thing. And like, why like push each other down, you know?
Yes.
Like the whole, what is it? Rising tide raises all ships or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've talked to many a successful person who had a bad day scrolling Instagram because it felt like everybody else was being more successful than them.
So many times.
It is a freaking life hack to move from competitor to like friend. Not to spoil the ending, but we had this interview scheduled already and then you're like, actually, I might need to reschedule because I'm playing with the literal Beach Boys. If I knew that a year ago when I'm in jealousy mode, I'd be like, and now he gets to play with them. But because... Cron! But because we had already communicated and you were already coming on the show,
yeah,
I honestly was stoked for you.
Thank you.
And just felt like, hell yeah.
Dude, I appreciate
without
that.
an ounce of jealousy in my heart. And it's because I had already made that swap. And that would have sucked if I had stayed a little jealous B-word.
Man,
so.
I resonate with that fully because so many times, especially in my 20s, like watching something corporate blow up. And I'm like, we're the piano rock band, not them. You know, like it's just like I've stopped measuring success based on like how many followers I have or how famous I am or how many people like my songs or any of that stuff, because at the end of the day, at the end of your life, like you're not gonna care how many followers you had. You're gonna care who's in the room with you. You know what I mean?
And the people, there probably will be somebody who does care about the followers, and they're gonna be so sad.
So sad. Like at the end of the day,
at least I had 1 million subs.
Yeah, right? At the end of the day, it's like if I treated my wife well and I took care of my kids and raised them well, like that's success. If I was like friendly and helpful to the people around me, if I like brought heaven to earth, basically, instead of the opposite, you know, that's success. To hell with the rest of it.
We have more story to go, but that would have been a cool last line.
To hell with the rest of it. See you next time. Episode 2.
Make sure to say it. If you can fit that back in, call that. That's a good one. Well, anyway, to hell. Anyway, so you're making these, you make the video, it pops off, how to make a Beach Boys song.
Yeah.
And what happens next?
So I just kept making Beach Boys content because I was like, if that works, I'm going to just keep doing it until...
Was the Beach Boys like a massive part of your identity, so that's where you went? Or was it kind of like, I love the Beach Boys, and then you're like, I got to do more Beach Boys because that's what's working?
It was more like, you know, I've always been a fan. It was really that it was working, so I kept doing it. And as I did it more, I discovered how much more of a fan I actually was.
Right. You start to appreciate it more.
And so from there, I like started writing songs in the style of the Beach Boys and putting that out. And but it just kept building, and I built a decent following off of that. And that parlayed into me getting more work. So, you know, at the beginning of this, I said that air gigs and Sound Better are now my like maybe a quarter of my work.
Yeah.
And the rest of it is coming from word of mouth, social media, emails, people finding me online, which has been great. So I've made maybe $50 off of Instagram total because like they got rid of their
paying creators
thing.
But you get work through it.
Yeah, I get work through it, and I am super grateful for that. So it just I just started making content as like a calling card and promotion for what I do. And then people started tagging John Stamos in my posts, which was funny because he was in Full House, and Jesse and the Rippers, his band in the show, played Forever, the Beach Boys song that Dennis Wilson wrote. And one day I opened up Instagram and I see John Stamos started following you from your reel. It's like, whoa. So I wrote him, like, whoa, John Stamos, thanks for the follow.
Uncle Jay.
Yeah. And then he messaged me back and was like, yeah, I love your stuff. And so we just started talking. And it's funny, his dad owned a burger place right down the street from the church that I grew up going to. So we like connected over little things from Orange County. And and then we exchanged numbers for some reason. And I sent him a song I had written called Don't Be Afraid. And it was my like attempt at Pet Sounds. I wrote it with my friend Ben Shive, who is an incredible songwriter and arranger, and maybe a bigger Beach Boys, Brian Wilson nerd than I am. So he like did some of the orchestrations for it. But I sent it to John. 2 minutes and 45 seconds later, I get a FaceTime call from him.
Wow.
What is happening? So I answered, and he's in his car driving. He's like, I loved the song. It was fantastic. I want to like, you know, get you together with Mike Love, and we'll, you know, figure that out. And that was 2 years ago. So from there, like, we just kind of kept in touch. And then he introduced me to this guy, Brian Eichenberger, who is the Beach Boys touring music director. And he lives in Franklin, like 18 minutes down the road from us. And so he and I had coffee one time, and we hit it off and had coffee again and got our families together. And we've now like hung out a bunch of times just as friends.
Yeah.
From there, it's just kind of been this like ever present in the background thing of like John kind of trying to get me to like someday play with them. They were playing in Beaver Dam, Kentucky, so like 3 hours away from here. And I messaged Brian. I was like, "Hey, do you mind if we come to the show? Because it's close enough we could drive. I bring the family." He's like, "Yeah, come on down." And so we get there, and he was super nice and got T-shirts for the kids and let us on the bus so we could meet everybody. And then he's like, "You should sit in with us tonight." I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "Yeah, sing my part on Kokomo." So I was like, "Okay." So they had me up on stage, and I sang Kokomo with them, and they had my family up, much to the chagrin of my wife, up on stage to dance for Barbara Ann.
Oh, wow.
She was so mortified, but it was fun. And so I got to do that, and then came back home. And
which, like, his part on Kokomo.
Brian sings the like high parts. My voice is shot right now, but he sings the "We'll get there fast and then we'll take it slow." That part. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite part.
I know. That's the best part of the song. That's where we want to go. Yeah, that part.
It's the best part.
Fast forward a little bit later, I was talking to John again, and he's like, Did you get an invite to my birthday party? I was like, "Your birthday party?" He's like, yeah, did Caitlin, that's his wife, did she send you an invite to my birthday party? I was like, "No." He's like, "Oh, I'll take care of it." So we get an invite to his 60th birthday party.
Wow.
So my wife and I flew out to LA and went to his birthday party, and it was super fun. It was 60s, like Austin Powers-y kind of themed birthday party. So we hung out, and the Beach Boys performed there again, and I sang Kokomo with them again there. And thought, this is great. This is so fun. And if nothing comes of it, I've had 2 amazing experiences getting to sing with some of my heroes on stage. And then I got a call from Brian saying, "Hey, there's a potential for you to like fill in for some dates." And I was like, "Wait, what?" Again, just like sing Kokomo again. And he's like, "No, I like to like fill in." So Mike Love's wife's going to call you at some point. And it didn't happen for a while. It wasn't until October that I got a phone call, but they're like, "Hey, we need a fill in for these dates." And it's Hard Rock Cafe in Fort Lauderdale, and then 2 dates at Epcot and Disney. I'm like, "Can I bring my family?" She's like, "Absolutely."
Nice.
So fast forward to just this past weekend, I got to fly down with my family and fill in for Mike Love's son, Christian, who was playing some shows in LA. And I got to fill in and be
how does it go? Which pretty much takes us to the Uber.
Yeah, it takes us to the Uber where
This is the best part of every biopic. Now you're back to the real present day.
Yeah, so we show up there at the venue, and
I was gonna ask you, so what do they? You're gonna play with the Beach Boys kid.
Yeah,
and so how do you know the parts that they're gonna?
Okay, so Brian sent me the 34 songs that we were gonna do, which was a lot. About 3.
Is it all written out?
No, it was all he sent me like a live recording of them and had multi-tracked everything. So he was able to send me Christian's vocal parts and then the 2-track, and then I think Mike Love's vocal and the lead vocals. So I kind of brought him into Logic, and I put the lead vocals over here and centered the live band, and then panned Christian's vocal over here so I could hear everything. And I just practiced through, because I play in a Beach Boys tribute band called Pet Sounds Live, that I didn't mention until just now because I'm stupid. Pet Sounds Live, which I joined 2 years ago now. And that's with the guy, Jason from the Explorers Club. He started it, and now this guy named Chase Johnson and David Brown, they both live in town. They are like full-time guys in it, and we kind of have recurring drummers and keyboard players. This guy Coleman right now on keys, who's really great. But we play the Pet Sounds album from top to bottom.
Oh, I love that.
Which was super fun.
Did that help?
Yeah. Yeah, so in Pet Sounds Live, I actually play bass, which bass is not my first instrument. Piano is. But I like playing bass, and so I was like, sure, I can do this, to get the gig.
Yeah.
And I had to learn all of the parts, which are, it's the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, it's Carol Kay.
Yeah, Carol Kay, and I forgot the other guy's name. But some of them are like Good Vibrations is like 3 different sessions. Mm-hmm. So like on the beginning, you're playing that doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, way up here on the neck, and then it drops down here, and then there's some like cello, and so you're like conflating, getting all these different parts together. In that band, I play the bass parts and I sing all the high parts. So learning this set is a bunch of songs that we don't play in Pet Sounds Live. Plus, I'm learning a completely new part. Christian sings a lot of the like baritone parts. So I'm down now learning his parts. And then I have had to sing lead on Help Me Rhonda, which I don't normally sing lead on, and Good Vibrations, which I also don't normally sing lead on.
Wow.
And play guitar. So I had to like make up parts because there weren't any parts for me to like. I could hear what the other 2 guitar players are doing, so I'm like, I'll just do something in the middle.
Gotcha.
I sat there for 3 weeks, just like, okay, what's this thing, and like figuring out the parts on guitar, and I still didn't quite feel 100% on everything, just because it's a lot, and it's just playing with the Beach Boys. I was like, I don't want to mess up. I don't want to mess up. So I even got to the hotel and like just spent the whole day like practicing, just going over stuff.
They're all playing golf. And
Yeah. I probably walked like 3 miles in my hotel room, like with my guitar on and my AirPods in, just like going over the songs, like from the bathroom to the bedroom, to the bathroom to the bedroom, just back and forth. And so getting on stage, I felt 80% confident. And by the 3rd song, I felt like, all right, now I feel like 95% confident. Because I was just getting through those first few songs. But yeah.
So what was Uncle Jesse on these sessions?
He was.
Wow.
Yep.
What does he play?
He plays drums and guitar and sings.
Okay, so he swaps around.
When he plays guitar, he's running around the stage and grabs his microphone and he's, doing this to the crowd on this side and this to the crowd on this side and, picking up babies and saying hi to old ladies, and he's doing his thing. And then he's
wooing the world.
Wooing the world, yeah. And then he comes and does drums on a few songs by himself. There's a few songs where him and John Bolton, the drummer, do like double duty.
Oh, fun.
Which is super fun. And then he sings Forever and plays guitar and comes to the front and sings that as his lead.
So the state, I want to say the lights go down.
Yeah.
They probably do. The lights go down.
Lights
the
go
LED
down.
wall lights up.
Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beach Boys.
Yep.
And then I just picture you, which I'm sure this wasn't true, but you're just like, meh.
Yeah. I was standing backstage with Tim, their keyboard player, and Bruce Johnston. And Bruce is like giving me all this advice and like, yeah, you're going to do great. And he's like, prodding me like, all right, you walk here. And throughout the whole set, he would like guide me to like where I'm supposed to, because I don't know any of the choreography either. It was just like throw and go and like, oh, they're all doing this now. I'm doing this now. But yeah, so it was just this like surreal moment to like, because I haven't played live like that. I have played with the Pet Sounds Live band, but to play in front of 4,000 people in a place like that with the lights and the loudness of everything, it was an energy that I hadn't experienced in a long time. So I was a little bit nervous at the beginning, but it was great. And by the fifth song in, I was just like on cloud 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
1 above 9.
Yeah, 1 above 9. Yes.
And what were the moments that you were just like, whoa?
I mean, getting to sing lead on stage with them was amazing. So I sang "Help Me, Rhonda" and "Good Vibrations."
Both epic songs.
Yeah. So just have a spotlight on me. Like, I'm 43 years old. Not that I'm old, but I'm like, I'm not in my 20s anymore, like trying to be a rock star. It was just like, oh, okay, here I am.
How amazing, by the way, that you're not trying to be a rock star. You get
I know.
dropped into one of the greatest rock bands of all time.
Gosh, I know. Well,
when you're not trying to.
it's I can't explain it at all. I'm just grateful to be here. But,
yeah. So the spotlight comes on you.
Yeah, and so getting to sing those iconic songs in front of a crowd who's singing them back to you, and was wild. And getting to like lean my back up against John or against Keith, the bass player, or like fist bump with Mike and Bruce while we're on stage. It went by way too fast. I'll say that. By the end of an 100-minute set, I was like, wait, we're done? How did that happen? Hearing God Only Knows and like all these songs that I love being performed by the guys around me is and then remembering, oh shoot, yeah, I'm playing guitar on this too. yeah. There was just a few of those moments of like forgetting where I was, and then oh yeah, I got to play.
Who sings God Only Knows, by the way?
Well, usually Christian does, so I prepared to sing that one, but then I got there and Bruce wanted to sing it because he doesn't get to sing it that often, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say no to Bruce Johnston singing it.
Kid, you mind if I sing it?
yeah. You sang on it, so you may sing it. Yeah.
I guess feel free.
Yep. Yeah. So
I'd be like, that's my part.
That's my part, Bruce.
I've trained for this.
Yeah.
You know who you're talking to.
Like hell, you're gonna take this from me. Yeah.
I'm massive in Japan.
Why did we just turn into Australians?
Because it's the best.
Yes.
And so then you guys have Epcot is next?
Yeah, so we had the day off, took a train in the morning from Fort Lauderdale up to Orlando to meet my wife and kids at the airport.
Nice.
They flew down. And then we had passes to go to Disney World. So we went around with some of the guys in the band and went on a bunch of rides and had a great time on Saturday.
This is literally an episode of Boy Meets World right
It
now.
is, which I saw you had a poster in there. Yeah. Which Boy Meets World is a great show, but The Wonder Years is my heart and soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Older brother.
Yeah. So then the next day, got up in the morning and went back to the parks again just to like get as much, kid time in as we could, and then had to go to Epcot to do the shows, and we rode in the van through the back lot. It was cool to see all the back areas of Disney World.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And to smell all the smells of backstage, which lots of like trash.
Really?
It's not trashy. It's just like you smell all the like
Everything
garbage from the park gets it put in cans back
everything
there.
that's not magic.
Everything that's not magic is back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so we like park and then go through this little door and then up this ramp, and then there's hundreds of people on either side waiting for the show. So we're walking between these ropes to get in. John is behind us and everyone's like, John Stamos, oh my gosh. Yeah. And we're walking ahead and people are like, that must be their friends and family or something.
Yeah.
It was so fun. And so we went on and played. We did 3 30-minute sets on Sunday, and then the same thing on Monday.
And what kind of a stage setup is it at Epcot?
It's
I've only gone to the real Disneyland.
Gosh,
so.
Yeah, and same. I'd never been to Disney World before. So Epcot's like this big round park around a lake, and each section is a different country.
Okay.
So it's the American section at the bottom of the lake, the south side of the lake, and it's they have a big like bandstand there that holds like 2,200, I think.
Nice.
It was all set up. The band or the crew had already come and done their due diligence and set up everything.
That's nice.
It's nice to just walk on stage and, oh, my guitar's there. Oh, it's in tune. It's all plugged in. That's great.
Yeah.
Because
Far cry from the Warped Tour days.
Far cry from like throwing your amp on stage and like rushing and getting, yelled at because you're taking too much time. So yeah, we did those shows, and then the next day, my parents, it was their anniversary, so they had driven down to Savannah for a couple days, and they're like, "We're only 4 hours away. We'll drive down to Epcot." So I got them passes for Epcot, and they came in and got to do that same walk through the crowd again. And my mom's like, "Woo!" like, having the time of her life. And then after those shows, we ran back to Magic Kingdom because we had an hour and a half to go to the park, and we got on 4 more rides because no one was there anymore.
Yeah.
And flew home the next day.
I almost feel like the coolest part. So your parents got to see you play.
They got to see me play. Yeah.
I feel like that would be a special moment to to have your dad see you play in the Beach Boys.
Yeah. Oh,
That's
yeah.
like-
I looked over at him several times. A big smile on his face. And my kids are there dancing in the front because they're Beach Boys fans too.
Yeah.
It was,
I just like, you got a moment, point at your dad, wink, freeze frame. Just like, you're just like, I finally made you proud.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, finally, after 43 years.
I have succeeded as a son. Not a lot of sons going to play in the Beach Boy dad. So.
Yeah, I know, right? I will have those pictures in my head forever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Forever.
Are there any other moments from the last few days from this experience that you want to reflect on?
I mean, I want to say that the whole Beach Boys touring organization are some of the most fantastic people I've ever met. So gracious with my family. Like, I was a little bit nervous because my kids are 10 and 6. They have high energy, and like have them like bopping around on sugar backstage. It was like, okay, guys, like I'm watching, but everyone was like, "Oh yeah, tell me about what you're into Legos. Oh, cool." Like they were like, it seems like it's a really like a good family, all of them together. So to like be dropped into that for a moment and have my family be welcomed into that was just incredible. And my parents did get to come see that too. I mean, it was at Disneyland. It was the Magic Kingdom, the happiest place on earth. It really did feel like those are moments that I will treasure forever because it's like everything about it was magic.